I'm not quite sure what the moment was, but I started to think about the kind of structures that you would need. And always there's this thing of having a leg at each corner, and you always end up with something that looks like a bandstand. And you have a big truss leg, and it's all very unpleasant. And there was a moment when I was thinking about, if with new technology these could be very thin, or they could be poles, or they could be something or other, when I realised that actually, instead of trying to make this thing smaller, what if the thing was so big that it essentially became invisible because it was part of the stadium? And so that was the starting point, and the theme building at LAX came to mind. And I imagined that as a shape which could completely span a football pitch. And we were on tour in New Zealand at the time, and weirdly, Hedwig de Meyer from Stagecoach came to that gig. So, Alex Murphy, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll talk to you later.
Hedwig de Meyer from Stagecoach came to the gig, and so I ran the idea past him. And oddly, he'd come to New Zealand via LAX, so he'd just seen that building. And I said, do you think such a structure could exist? And he said, very much so. They'd built roofs and things that would do that sort of span, 60-metre spans. So, armed with that piece of information, I did some very basic sketches and sent them to Mark Fisher. He emailed them to Mark Fisher, who I think within 24 hours responded with some far better sketches of something resembling the theme building straddling a football pitch. And I took these and showed them to the band. And what's, again, another important thing for me was the fact that the performance area is completely disconnected from the structure. And my observation had been that if you imagine, as an extreme case, if you imagine being on a drum riser with a 1 metre square tower at each corner, that could really bum you out during a gig. But if these towers were on the 50-yard line and at the edges of the field, they're so far away from the performance that they're really not a sightline issue. So, band very excited, and what was just great was being able to show them these drawings whilst we were standing in a stadium. And so it's not an abstract thing. I can stand them on the field saying, you'd be here, that one leg would be where that bin is over there, and the other leg would be there. And it was very exciting.